To know all about education in the country, tune in every Wednesday after the 8 p.m. news bulletin and the repeat every Sunday after the 1 p.m. news bulletin for the program CTN's Focus on Education with Mark Thompson.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the program CTN Focus on Education with me, Mark Thompson. In today's edition of the program, the government of Sierra Leone through the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education has announced the opening of colleges and tertiary institutions in the country. And also the student union body at Fabi College has held a retreat. And these and other issues we're going to discuss in the program. And to help us discuss all of these issues, as I have with me in the program, Suleiman Blah, who is the Minister of Information and Communication of the Student Union government at Fabi College. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, I also have with me in this studio Dwight Nicol, who is the president of the College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences Student Union Government. Good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, listeners. Good evening, sir.
Okay, you can be part of the program. You can send a message to the number 078330167. The number again is 078330167. So let's go straight to the discussion, and we'll start with the reopening of colleges, which was announced today, that the government has declared that all tertiary institutions should reopen. And so Mr. Nicol, I'll start with you. So how, as a student union government, what do you make of this decision coming so at this particular time when the coronavirus is still around?
Well, students nationwide, they are actually awaiting a response from the government because, of course, we saw some time ago a proposal recommendations by various colleges and universities as to the reopening of college. So to reopen college again is a brilliant idea, but we also have to look into some of the other realities on ground. And we don't want to be like Ghana, because even presently, that is one of the things you'll find out that out of the 16 regions in Ghana, about 6 of the regions, the schools in the regions have presented with coronavirus cases. That is like about 35 students out of the about 300,000 students have presented with coronavirus. But their own situation is very much different because the students, all the pupils, they are living or they are doing their academic work in an enclosed environment. Okay. Wherein in Sierra Leone, the students are coming from the communities, and of course we know that until date we have coronavirus cases in the various communities. NACOVAC is working on testing and all of the rest, but one community transmission taking place in the community. So there are so many challenges. It's a brilliant idea that safe. Needs to be. Well, it's not entirely safe.
Okay. So Mr. Blah, let me go in with this same question. What's your take with regards to the announcement by government that colleges should reopen?
Well, I think the government might have thought it fit that it's high time they thought of reopening colleges, subject to the fact that they do not want to have a deja vu experience with the Ebola virus. So I think their position is quite certain, as we have seen the press release today, which requested that every higher institution is supposed to open on Saturday. So that gives you the impression that the government, which is the central body, is satisfied with the situation at hand. And we are only hoping that the anticipated position that they have taken will yield dividend. Okay. We are quite certain for that.
Okay, Mr. Blah, you talk about press release, and earlier today, one of my colleagues, Lai Jackson, engaged Abdul Fonte Kabia, who is the head of communication strategy at the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, And this is what he has to say about the decision of the government to reopen schools.
You have the hygiene component, for example, and under the hygiene component, it makes it compulsory for all higher education institutions to clean and disinfect their premises before they are reopened, and they should also be doing that periodically. And hand washing with soap or use of hand sanitizers that are 70% alcohol or over shall be done by every student and lecturers before entering the premises, and Veronica buckets, hand washing machines.
To know all about education in the country, tune in every Wednesday after the 8 p.m. news bulletin and the repeat every Sunday after the 1 p.m. news bulletin for the program CTN's Focus on Education with Mark Thompson.
Tune into Radio Mount Orel FM 107.3 every Monday after the 8 p.m. news bulletin and on Saturdays after the 7 a.m. news bulletin for Ask the Expert.
Continue to listen to the program CTN Focus on Education. If you want to be part of the program, send a message to the number 078-330-167. Today we are discussing about the decision of the government to announce the opening of colleges. And Mr. Black, you are talking about the government decision that I make reference in with the press release, and one of the things the government said with regards to the opening of colleges is about the safety measures, which according to the communications person, government has already put in some safety measures in place for students to have that kind of way to actually come and get a better learning. But some people are still scared or are still skeptical with regards to the whole process, because like I said, the Fabe College, for instance, is one of the centers that were used for Corona. So what do you make of all this?
Well, it's quite obvious that the government is responsible to ensuring that its people have a better health service delivery. When we saw the notice, in fact, some of us were quite surprised at this material time for the insurance of such a notice. But I think, like I started, the government might have got its own ways of doing things. The issue of college resumption is quite important, reasonably because we have seen other places like markets. We have other crowded areas where people are congested to the brim, but they are still in operations and they have never closed any of such enterprises. So I think the university should not wait until coronavirus finishes before we could get back to studies. Reason being because the academic year is not as proper as it was, considering the fact that the Ebola virus had a very sober hit on it. So the government, like I said, did not want to have a reoccurrence of such. That is why they are coming up with this measure. And to tell you that they are quite serious about it is the fact that even when the student union bodies from various campuses like IPAM, Commerce and Fabe College, they provided a position paper on how they would expect the whole process to be considered, reasonably because students brought up these ideas. These views were sounded by students themselves. We all positioned the paper to the administration, and the administration took these concerns to the ministry, and then they had a tete-a-tete with various stakeholders and partners. So I think it's quite appropriate for us to get back to studies as education comes first, no matter the circumstance. And I am quite certain that the institution, especially the various colleges, will institute a robust preventive measures where our students will able to mitigate the transmission process.
So another concern which some students are raising is the fact that the colleges are still in the first semester. Some colleges or some institutions have not still completed the first semester. Now government has said they will go straight to second semester. So how do you see this play out at the end of the day with regard those that have not yet completed the semester and then all of a sudden you're going to start the second semester?
Well, I think for the various colleges that are yet to complete their first semester exams, the press release from the Ministry of Technical Education is just that it's providing leadership in terms of education matters with tertiary institution. So they've already given a date. So it's up to the various colleges and universities to set their own activity calendar. Even for us, our deputy registrar, our registrar also put forth a notice today for like the final year BSc class and few classes to start, and then the remaining classes are going to start August 31st. Understand? So it's up to the various colleges to put things in place to ensure that they do their first semester exams that they completed.
So one other question is that were you aware or were you consulted in any way, like for you to give your own suggestions with regards to your opinions with regards to this whole issue, or were you just taken by surprise?
Well, one of the challenges we're having as student union government, of course, even though as student union government, because I see Fabi College do that, you can go to your administration and talk to them, but it's very difficult and it's extremely challenging for ministry to call upon students and say, okay, let's discuss upon this. But one of the challenges, because we don't have news, ministry usually work with the National Union of Surveillance Students, but now there is no news. But there is not much of that consultation, even at college levels, university levels. Sometimes they do, sometimes they do not. So, like in this case, we are not consulted, but we think we are going to look into the various activities that are going to be put forward by the college.
And Commerce Administration never informed you, like as the head of student affairs, like, okay, we are going to reopen the college and government has asked us to reopen college. They never informed you?
No, there is no such a thing, but just as I said earlier enough, as a proactive student union government and another association of presidents, Slemza President went to the administration to put forward some certain things. So they told us to wait until they put forth their own calendar of event, and then if we have any questions to it, then we can bring it up. But it's a situation where on a normal basis, students are not consulted. When it comes to Africa, students are not usually consulted. Administrations and people do things and they expect you to just follow suit.
So Mr. Blah, Fabi College has a very large population, and one may say the student union body now has a very big role to play in ensuring that you control the spread, or if not prevent the spread of corona among students attending classes. So have you thought of any strategy do you want to put in place in ensuring that you succeed in that part?
We have always been supportive with regards to that drive. In fact, when we got the first, when we heard about the Ebola, we ensured that we created an effective communication strategy that produced at that material time, that produced the desired effect. In fact, we are expressive of the fact that corona is real. We sent out messages on our different social media platforms. We engage students on a class-by-class basis. We also try to engage with the administration to see how best we can collaborate to ensuring that their plan of creating that healthy society for students will be achieved. In fact, like I said, the student union body met with the administration some time ago. We presented to them a position paper. Whereas we resolved at we were anticipating to see an effective or an efficient learning environment. Also, we need to see a very healthy environment where students will have the opportunity to live and cohabit at the same time. One of the issues here is that when we were consulted, we did not even think about the issue by ourselves. We call class representatives representing the various faculties and departments. They sounded these opinions. So we had a position paper and we presented it to them. In fact, that position paper that we presented to the administration guided the administration when they went to for the meeting at the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. So that position paper served as a guide, whereas they presented it also to the ministry, and the ministry in return thought about it and they saw that the need for our suggestions or for our proposals to be met. So therefore, I think we have got a reaction from the ministry.
The issue of Fabric College is very critical because government uses this facility as one of its biggest corona centers in the country, and here we are talking about a few days to reopen. From now to Saturday, college will be reopening, and so people will be like I asked you this question earlier, that kind of panic with regards the corona, how well has government disinfect the place? So are you just eager to come back to college without even thinking about the dangers involved?
Okay, first of all, I want to inform the general studentship and the general public that the holding center that used to be situated at Fabric College has just been relocated today to Benguna.
Yeah.
And the hostels are under the control of NACOVAC. In fact, they even told us that they are going to institute a disinfection plan, whereas they will ensure that they disinfect the homes before it could be fit for purpose. So the ministry has just cited an instance whereas we could appreciate their effort. The resumption of classes, yes, it's on Saturday, but the proper coordination of activities will not be done on Saturday. It is between Saturday and any other time. So we are waiting as a student union body to see the disinfection plan, to see how best the administration will take the issue of preventive measures very seriously before ever we can tell students to come to campus. Because if we don't have a very healthy environment, the risks will be high and the stakes will also be high. So we are not risking any life. And we have been assured that they are going to disinfect and they are going to return the classrooms and the hostels back to their original state before the intervention of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay. So now let's talk about this method which the university instituted for all its constituent colleges by introducing this online lecture. So over the past month, various lecturers have been doing that. So on the part of commerce, how effective has this been?
Well, the effectiveness of the online lecture, it varies. You know, there are some classes that are having effective online lectures, like the fifth year class. They have already completed their pediatrics. There are other classes that have not have any online lectures, and there are some classes that are having only few lecturers coming into lectures. So on a general platform, then it's like a balanced situation. Some are effective, some are not effective.
So are you concerned with the fact that, because it is very obvious now that colleges will open, maybe the colleges will say, okay, you have been taking online classes, now we'll go straight to examination. Are you concerned with regards to the performance of students if by any means the university decided to just announce examination?
Well, I think they are also parents. The people that are running the university or the college are also parents. They will not just get up one morning and say they're going to conduct exams, because from our own decks, the notice that I saw is like they're going to start with the face-to-face lectures, because they actually know that the online lecture have not been that effective. So they need to conduct like few weeks of face-to-face online lectures plus revision week, and then they can go into exams. So that is the method and approach that is on the way.
So let me throw this question again to Suleiman Bra. What's your take about the reopening the online lectures? How effective? I know you have been monitoring as a minister. You have been monitoring this whole process. So how effective have you seen it so far?
To be candid enough, the process has not been quite effective, and that was not what we were expecting from the side of the administration. That is why some of us are very happy when we heard that the resumption of classes will take place very soon, especially when we saw the notice from the Ministry of Higher and Technical Education. Now, let me tell you, it is quite appropriate for you to inform someone to take an exam in an immediate circumstance. I am pretty sure that their administration, even though they have their own ways, but they are quite considerate enough that students will be informed accordingly and sufficiently when they will have their exam. For example, we are likely going to resume classes late August or first week in September. during that time or before that time, the administration will say all those who have remaining or outstanding exams that they should take, outstanding remaining exams that they should take, they will have the opportunity to use a period of 1 week. Let's say, for example, all final year students will have 1 week to take all outstanding exams. All year 3 students will have also a week to take all outstanding exam. All year 2 to year 1. So that will give us the impression, or that will give everyone the satisfaction that indeed they have been comfortably informed, and the administration will work towards that. Because the reason, like I said, students have not been taking an effective online lecture classes. So that tells you that they are not prepared at the moment. So for them to have their commitment, they have to be sufficiently informed, and that will serve, or that will guarantee their preparedness.
So like I asked Dwight, how will that affect students if, for instance, Fabric College decides to, let's say, announce in the next 1 or 2 weeks examinations? Because she knows there are some departments who are yet to complete the first semester examination. So if, for instance, now the college say, okay, in the next 1 or 2 weeks, we'll go straight to examination, how would that affect
Well, I think the student union body serves as intermediary between the college and students. Whatever decision that the administration would want to take in full force, they will inform the student union body. And I think whatever thing that does not resonate with the welfare of students will not be accepted. So we will be continuing with the negotiation and plan between the administration and students. That is our responsibility.
Do you think that will be fair?
That will not be fair. In fact, we will appeal to the administration for them to create that enabling environment where our students will be sufficiently prepared for their exams.
So, Dwight, before we go for the news summary, are you expecting, because now at this particular time we start the college will reopen for the second semester, are you expecting the reopening of the next academic year in this particular year?
Well, I think from the proposal by the various universities that have been put forward to the ministry, they're expecting to reopen the new academic year, that's 2020-2021, in January. So it's very, very challenging. I don't think we'll expect a new academic year this year, except next year.
Okay, thank you very much. His name is Dwight Nicol. He's the president of College of Medicine and Higher Health Sciences Student Union Government. I also have with me in the studio Suleiman Blah, who is the Minister of Information and Communication of the Fabric College Student Union Government. Don't forget you are listening to the program CTN Focus on Education. Continue to listen to the program. We'll go now to over to Studio 2 for the news summary, but stay tuned.
To know all about education in the country, tune in every Wednesday after the 8 p.m. news bulletin and the repeat every Sunday after the 1 p.m. news bulletin for the program CTN's Focus on Education with Mark Thompson.
Welcome to the second half of the program CTN Focus on Education with me, Mark Thompson. If you are just joining us, and in today's edition of the program, we are looking at the decision of the government of Sierra Leone to the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education to announce the reopening of all tertiary institutions in the country. And to help me discuss about these issues, I have with me in the studio Dwight Nicol, who is the president of the College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences and Student Union Government. I also have with me Suleiman Blah, who is the Minister of Information and Communication of the Fabric College Student Union Government. Well, listeners, like I said, the government earlier today issued a press release, and one of our colleagues, Lahai Jackson, engaged Abdul Fonte Kabia, who is the strategic communication specialist at the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education.
A couple of weeks, a couple of months later, now that Corona seems to be gradually coming under control, we deem it fit that if we are opening religious houses already, we are reviewing the curfew already, we are opening international borders already, it is but fitting, it makes sense for us to also try to see if it is possible to open the educational institutions. And of course, you know that at basic and senior secondary level, the examination pupils are currently attending schools as part of the gradual reopening strategy of the government. So after a lot of consultations, the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, the Conference of Vice Chancellors and Principals of Higher Education Institutions in the country, they have been able to reach a consensus that we should be able to open the technical and higher education institutions across the country. So cabinet, it was presented to cabinet by the ministry, and as of Tuesday the 21st of July, cabinet approved the reopening of all technical and higher education institutions in the country in line with recommendations by the NACOVAC.
And what are these recommendations?
Well, these recommendations were broadly divided into various fields. You have the hygiene component, for example, and under the hygiene component, it makes it compulsory for all higher education institutions to clean and disinfect their premises before they are reopened, and they should also be doing that periodically. And hand washing with soap or use of hand sanitizers that are 70% alcohol or over shall be done by every student and lecturers before entering the premises, and Veronica buckets, hand washing machines stationed at the entrance for that purpose at all times. You also have the toilet facilities to be responsibly used, cleaned, disinfected, and strongly monitored at all times. So those are some of the measures under the hygiene component. When you come to the preventive measures, you have rules that states every student, lecturer, administrator, or staff shall have his or her temperature taken before admission into the educational premises. So you will not have access to any of these premises if your temperature is not checked. And also, everyone in the classroom, including lecturers, must properly wear face mask at all times. So all of these mechanisms have been put in place, and the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education and the Conference of Vice Chancellor and Principals of Higher and Technical Institutions are going to supervise and ensure compliance with all of that. So also the number and seating capacity of students was also looked into, and the NACOVAC recommended that no class shall exceed 50% of its holding capacity, and physical distancing of at least 3 feet between tables or 6 feet between students should be strictly maintained. You also have other rules wherein it also dictates the time for conduct of business. So for example, classes and every other business of the institutions shall be conducted between the hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. You have other safety practices, including hand washing, that states that hand washing, hugging, and other forms of physical contact must be avoided at all times. Meetings of social clubs, associations, and meetings of social clubs and associations are totally banned. So these are some of the measures that have been put in place jointly by the NACOVAC and the education stakeholders.
Now let's come to the implementation of these measures that the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary Education has put in place, and how are they going to be? What measures the ministry has put in place to make sure that these particular measures that have already been agreed on be implemented when college reopen?
The responsibility to ensure compliance with all of these largely lies in the hands of the various technical and higher education institutions. What the ministry is going to do is to supervise, to ensure that all of these institutions comply with these measures, because the ministry has had several engagements with the institutions already, and all of these institutions have agreed that they would be able to take care of all of these activities by themselves. The only appeal that they made to the government was for the government to fast track the disbursement of their second quarter subventions, which the government is going to do before the end of this week. So everything is in place. So the institutions have agreed that they would be able to comply with all of these measures, and then the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education and the Conference of Vice Chancellors and Principals are going to ensure that the monitor and supervise compliance with the
Okay, that was Abdul Fonti Kabia, who is the communication specialist at the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education. In that interview with my colleague Lai Jackson, and Dwight, you've listened to what Mr. Fonte said with regards to the decision to reopen colleges and some of the measures they've put in place with the university administration for safety measures.
I would say they are laudable ideas. As of now, they are ideas. They are proposals. They are laudable, because we have seen also some of the proposals that all of the students weekly should have hand sanitizer and all of the rest. So as people are representing the students, we'll be looking forward to all of those things. But some are really challenging, because I'm wondering, how can a lecturer be using masks to lecture when you have a class that is also huge? Even though they said they're going to divide the class, well, we are waiting to see. But it's also challenging when you have a normal class, you understand, to have lecturers to come to lecture, and now you are also increasing the class. So there are so many challenges, but at the same time, you are not like seeing the structures, even though they are saying things. So we are waiting to see the structures, and 1 month or by August, we think we can also have another time to evaluate how far this entire process have been going.
And dividing the classes, as you just said, and space and lecture rooms have always been one of the challenges of so many all the colleges under the University of Sierra Leone. Now they've said they're going to divide classes because of cross time, because of gathering.
So what I think they're going to do is it's like on a basis, because like for us, primary one and finally ABSc, nursing and medical laboratory, they are going to start. I think by August, when we are going to resume, they will have completed, including their examinations, and then they will be now in their various homes, whilst we'll be going for lectures. So after some of us and other setters, I think that is what they are going to implement.
Okay, so Mr. Blau, now you've listened to Fonte, like I've asked Dwight, what do you make of his own position with regards to the decision?
Well, it sounds fantastic from what I heard from Mr. Fonte. These measures are just stopgap measures, whereas based on the prevailing circumstance, we are coordinating things that should just fit in the situation. Well, I learned that when colleges resumes finally, when Fabe College resumes, like I'm speaking of Fabe College, we're going to have finally our students first. They will have to take their outstanding exams.
Okay.
From there we have year 3. So it gives you the impression that even though we have limited spaces, but if we have classes one after the other taking exams, it would mitigate the transmission process, based on the fact that, one, we have not got the infrastructure to entertain large amounts of students in classes, and also it will interest you to note that the number of students outweighs the facility that we are currently having on campus. In fact, I also learned that after the full disinfection of hostels, it is highly likely that students will go back to their hostels, but they will have to do a pilot testing phase, whereas they will ensure they put in 2 or 3 students for a week or 2 to examine the challenges. The reason being because NACOVAC holds the current authority over the hostels, and we don't have miller tanks, we don't have facility to uninterrupted electricity supply. So these challenges will be taken care of by NACOVAC, and later they will hand over the hostels to the administration before ever the student union body or students in general will have their general access to the premises of the hostels.
Okay, so during this shutdown of college, your administration has been backing on so many activities.
Of course.
Organizing competitions for students, and so take us through some of these activities.
Well, when we had the shutdown, we deemed it fit that it was highly important for the student union body to engage students, even though we are at home, but we need to keep students mentally alert, socially focused amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. So we started a campaign, which was the online writing competition. The online writing competition gears towards helping students who are active writers or who are in love with writing or who can write effectively. They will have the opportunity to win cash prizes, certificates, or awards. In fact, the fourth phase has commenced. We have just sent out the flyers on social media. So I encourage all Fuabe College students to participate. In fact, the eligibilities for all the Fuabe College students. So the online writing competition will expose students to what? Research. Because if you want to write about a particular topic, you have to be informed. If you are not sufficiently informed, you cannot make better presentation. So even amidst the COVID-19, students are engaged in research. They are also engaged in the day-to-day affairs of WHO, the Ministry of Health, and other technical institutions that are creating that platform where our students will learn the existence of the coronavirus and its preventive measures. So the Student Union body was quite committed towards that particular project. In fact, the administration provided the platform, and also the hardworking president and cabinet members are all committed in ensuring that we have a sustainable lifespan of the competition, at least for this period. In fact, it tells you that for the College Student Union body is the only, I would say it's categorically clear that is the only active student union body. Even amidst the coronavirus, we are here on campus, we are coordinating things, we are seeking the interest of students, we are engaging the administration. So that is a very big plus for us, and that's a very good achievement, generally not only for the student union body, but for also students of Fuabe College.
Okay, so Dwight, amidst the coronavirus, the shutdown, what have you been doing in ensuring that students are not just sit at home, and so what sort of things are students and your administration been backing?
Well, within College of Medicine, there are several strives that have been done, as we are saying. Also, College of Medicine, the campus we have, was one of those that was used for quarantine, as a quarantine center. So which means it also prevented some of the works. But we have been engaging, we have usual tutorials that have been done online. Of course, during this time, we also published a book. A book was published for this online lecture that was done by our person in charge of the technical department. And also, some of the classes are doing presentations for themselves, like the second year class, because since they are not having effective online lectures, they are doing that as well. And we also have colleagues who are also volunteering in the presence of this pandemic.
And students also from Commerce produced a hand sanitizer,
yes,
which now is in the market and people are buying.
Yes, I'm coming there. We also have colleagues who are also volunteering. Some are present in provinces to fight against this COVID, which I think is also a laudable venture for medical students to also undertake. And also have other organizations that have been engaging in massive sensitization, going from bus to bus, and also doing video sensitization, television station, radio stations, and also the development of the sanitizer by the pharmaceutical students. I think is also a laudable venture. So we have done a lot, despite some of the key things that we wanted to do, which one of them was to have the first national health symposium for all students nationwide that are doing health, and also some other activities. But we have also been effective and doing things, because now we are not having one-to-one meetings. We prefer to have Zoom, because as medical students, we have to set the pace in order to set the example, because we cannot be coming here having meetings and all of the rest. So all of our meetings, we are doing them online or through Zoom. Even the one we have with our class reps to engage them, we'll do them through Zoom. So we think that has been successful.
So, Bla, with all of these activities, and you said it's involved money because you said you give out cash prizes to student winners and what have you. One may say there have been, over the past month, there have been no classes, no college activities, but you guys have been getting funds. So, where have you been seeking funds in order to sustain some of these projects?
Well, obviously the student union body does not have finances. We are students. We are only creating we are only creating the opportunity for other students to benefit. Well, we have been funded by a lot of organizations like Okel Commercial Bank, AYV, IOM. In fact, let me tell you, to show that we are quite proactive, we have written a lot of proposals that are fantastic. So when we submit these proposals to potential sponsors, they deem it quite necessary to help. So that is where we have been getting our funds from sponsors.
And this takes me to another question with regards to you organize a recent retreat. Your administration, tell us about this retreat.
Well, Socrates once said that an unexamined life is not worth living. Well, we deem it quite important for the student union body to hold a retreat, because in every institution, we have the ability to see things as positive, to see things as negative. So the retreat was a relaxing period, whereas the student union body examined itself, its progress, its challenges, its future plans, and its execution of its current mission and goal.
Okay.
So it was very important for us to have held that retreat, whereas cabinet members were invited, and we also had resolutions which will benefit the entire studentship of Wabe College, and it also gives you the impression that anytime a retreat of set nature is held, members of cabinet or members of that institution or organization will recommit themselves towards the progress of working for the institution. In that case, cabinet members are very much active, and they have recommitted themselves to continue with the zest, to continue with the passion to serve Wabe College students, because leadership is service, and we are not as compared to the central government. We are just a student union body, which is a platform for us to demonstrate our leadership skills and also to transfer these skills to other students. We are future leaders. So Wabe College is the springboard, whereas we can manifest our skills, then we can use these skills for either global or national utility.
Okay. So Dwight, let me come to you. We have a few days more for the opening of colleges. Now, you've said, and also some of your lecturers are actively involved in this particular fight, and you also said even some of students of the college have been into the fight volunteering. And so, do you think this will in any way affect the learning process with regards to lecturers doing service to the nation and also to actually go and lecture you guys?
Well, I think that is one of the challenges that we're facing, even for the medical students. And because medicine of itself, whether you're doing nursing, pharmacy, or it's about practical. And when you're in College of Medicine, even you have 55%, for example, from first year, or when you're in clinical years, I'm a clinical student. If you have a reference in the clinical aspect, automatically you have a reference. If you fail the clinical aspect, even if you have 55% overall, they will fail, which means the clinical take precedence over everything else. So it's also challenging. And also, for you to have a promotional exams, you also have to have external examiner coming. But now you know the various protocols, of course, the 14 days in quarantine. So I think the reason why we're also shifting it, the college authorities have shifted it to August 31st, is because they want to put some of these things in place. So also you have to inform the lecturer, but it's going to be challenging because the people who are lecturing us, they are the same doctors that are in the treatment center, that are in various places. So it's going to be challenging, but we'll see how best we overcome that challenge together.
And so your time as a president will soon come to an end. So how have you been a successful leader despite amidst the challenges of coronavirus? What will you reflect on? What will you say that yes, I've been successful? Well,
to some extent, there has been successes, there have been challenges. One of the things I'm really proud of is it has been an experience. So Student Union Government is a platform through which you can be able to build up yourself for leadership, and also it gives you insight into what leadership entails, especially political leadership, and also it's also a platform so that you will learn. So I think I've been a successful leader to some extent, despite some challenges and some few hiccups with the coronavirus, because we're having our project of 200-seater a sitting park, you understand, because we don't have any there at College of Medicine, which costs close to about 200 million. We'll launch it during our leadership summit, and have people donating and all of this. So it's quite challenging to even have those monies. People are saying the coronavirus and all of this, but we have been successful to some extent.
So Suleiman Blah, when your time elapses, you be vouching or you be supporting another candidate, maybe from your own camp or what have you, and people will reflect on your performance in office. So what will you say about your performance so far as your time is fastly coming to an end?
Well, I think you can see for yourself, it's quite visible. Well, let me just inform listeners that the Student Union body has successfully renovated the Student Union building, for which it has taken over a decade without any existing Student Union office. So we have given it a state-of-the-art facelift, where students will now have the opportunity to go to the building, go to our offices, sound their opinion or their suggestions. I think the Student Union building is an access where students can easily grant towards the Student Union body. Also, even though we have many challenges, as like we are saying here, the coronavirus is an enemy to progress. In fact, it has disturbed a lot of things that should have occurred by now at Fabicol, but we are still hopeful for the better. Well, our government has also secured quite a number of recommendations that we have achieved. For example, very soon students will return to hostels. I think that is laudable in our part.
And he promised to secure buses for students, but
well, we are quite hopeful about that as well. But what we are quite sure of is what I'm saying here.
Okay.
That is a proposal, and we are praying that we achieve it at the end of the day. Okay. But very soon students will go to their hostels, and the Student Union body has quite been cooperative with students. In fact, this is the first Student Union body on the source of Fabicol that the students body and students, they have that brotherly relationship. We are always on the fort to uphold their welfare. We are always ensuring that we have the capacity to fulfill what we have promised them. And finally, the Student Union body has helped a lot in the area of educational sector, whereas most changes have been made in the educational system on campus. So we are hopeful to see some tangible development as time comes by, but we are quite serious and committed to fulfilling these promises.
Okay, we don't have enough time for you to explain what you have been doing, and so Dwight, I'll come to you for your final word to students out there, students of commerce, with regards the reopening of colleges, and what are you hoping to see in the coming months?
We just want to continue to encourage students out there, even those that are not in the College of Medicine. We know it's challenging, especially now that it's raining, to even study, because the place will be very, very cold. But let them continue to massage the courage and strength to study. And those of us that are working our dissertations, let us also continue speedily to work on it. At the same time, on the part of government, we want them also to consider all what they've been saying and all they have been planning and putting in place. We want to see them into action. And then we think together we can have a successful second semester together.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I'll end with Suleiman Blah, your final word to students.
Well, I just want to tell students to continue believing in the Augustine Bonner-led executive, continue to have the confidence in the student union body. We also want every student at Fabe College to take their academics very seriously. You know, we are very close to the resumption of classes, so every student is expected to study very hard so that we could pass our exams. And also we want to appreciate students for having the confidence in the student union leadership, and we want to appreciate partners who are financially supporting the student union body with regards to the online writing competition. And finally, we want to say we are grateful for the opportunities to serve, and will continue to seek the best interest of students at all times.
Thank you so much. His name is Suleiman Blah. He is the Minister of Information and Communication of the Fabe College Student Union government. Also in the studio today, I have Dwight Nikul, who is the president of the College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences Students Union government. This is how we end the program for today. If you miss part of the whole program, tune in on Sunday 1 p.m. after the news bulletin for a repeat. On behalf of the entire staff of this particular institution, I've been your presenter, Mark Thompson. Goodbye.
To know all about education in the country, tune in every Wednesday after the 8 p.m. news bulletin and the repeat every Sunday after the 1 p.m. news bulletin for the program CTN's Focus on Education with Mark Thompson.